Hey,
What's going on, man? We're about to go live here. You'll hear the intro here in 1 second.
gotcha. Okay, I was wondering, like, okay, let me make sure. I only got one headphone. I gotta go to Apple. My other headphone, I guess, is broken.
Yeah, I
So,
think you're good. And you know what? Move the camera up just slightly.
okay, so let me see. I'm kind of using this plant.
There
Is
we go.
that
Yep,
better?
that's better. Yep, perfect.
Okay, gotcha.
Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt. I am very, very excited for this morning's show. We've got, a celebrity on today. What is going on, my man?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Good morning to everyone.
Yo. So how is life, Mr. Raymond?
Life is going good right now. I mean, being back in Arizona is pretty good compared to California, at least. I guess things are a little more open, so I guess things are going pretty well. How about you?
You know what? Life is good. Happy to be alive, and we're just kind of plugging away like everybody else, one day at a time. This stuff's crazy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can agree. It is crazy.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
let's start the way we usually start the show. I talk a little bit about. I just give you a chance to tell your story a little bit, where you come from and sort of who you are. So everybody, this is Raymond Epps, and by the way, I got dressed up for you today.
Hmm.
I don't know,
Oh,
a
nice.
little bit of,
Okay.
little bit
Oh,
of.
nice. Sun Devil gear. Okay. Gotcha.
And it's funny because I'm a fan and you're a player, and I know those are two big different things, and so we're gonna talk about that later. But let's talk about your
Gotcha.
childhood a little bit, how you kind of came up.
Gotcha. Well, guys know my name is Raymond Epps. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, in a city called Harvey. Basically, growing up, I had three brothers and three sisters. I actually had another brother that actually passed away when we were younger from a heart murmur. Growing up, I was just, your average kid growing up in Chicago, just trying to, kind of find an identity, find things that I wanted to get into. I started to play football 2005. That was my first year playing. Ever since then, I fell in love with the sport. Um, Went along and played in college. I had a few different offers. Decided to go to Arizona State. I enjoyed Arizona State a lot. I had a lot of fun there. I ended up graduating with my degree in family human development. Did that, transferred from Arizona State. We had some coaching changes. So I actually transferred my grad year and actually went to SMU, which is Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. I actually received my master as well. So that's kind of a little bit about me. Right now, previously on the roster for the Oakland Panthers. It's a small indoor league team, but definitely in the next couple weeks, I may be hearing about me going to Canada or not, depending on if they close their season down. But yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
That's
Definitely.
awesome. Today we're gonna, I think we're gonna learn a little bit of stuff from you. I mean, normally I give some
Mm-hmm.
advice, but I think I respect you a lot. I respect anybody who's made it to the level of collegiate athlete that you became. So let me ask you: back in
Mm-hmm.
2005, was there? How old were you when you started playing ball?
I was like 12, 13. Yeah, I believe about 12 or 13. And I was kind of nervous at first because going from just playing in the street, in the fields near the neighborhoods I stayed in, it was different from being on a team, an organized team. And the team I was playing for was pretty good. They always had different levels that went to Florida. That's where the championship was every year. I got a chance to go a few times, but it was just a little more competitive than I thought. So I actually remember my first day of practice, believe it or not. I remember my first day of practice. And it was kind of weird because as I was walking up to play, people was like, "What position do you play?" And I was like, I just play football." So I really didn't know any positions or anything. So it was definitely a good experience.
And what position they put you at right away?
My first position I played like left guard, and then I played center a little bit too. So I was always just an offensive lineman starting off. I was kind of like a heavy kid. I was a big kid for my age, so.
So
Yeah,
and you
I did a
were
lot of
tall
flying.
and big, so they just assigned you the line because it's the best
Yes,
spot.
first day didn't get to touch the ball snap. I mean, of course, I wanted to catch the ball and things of that nature, but I was definitely a long way from that.
So let me ask you then. This is a good question. Did you stand out right away? I mean, did you make a starting team? I mean, because you were your size and all that.
Yeah, my first year I actually started. I mean, it took a while for me to understand everything, but it was a few kids that started before me. But at the age I started with, it was early, but it was still I didn't know anything, so it was easy for me to catch on to do the right thing. So yeah, I started my first year. I mean, I didn't really have to do much but block. So and being a kid in Pop Warner, it's not too hard to block another kid. It's really just putting your body in front of his. So
Yeah.
it really wasn't anything I struggled with. But I mean, yeah, it was different coming from like not playing at all to putting on a helmet, shoulder pads, things of that nature. So
So what was the moment when you thought to yourself, like, wow, maybe I could really do this?
I would say, man, there's some good questions. I feel like I haven't really got a chance to ever talk about this, so I like this a lot already. I would say when I was in eighth grade, I would say eighth grade year, I was probably like 6'2", 6'3". I was still an offensive lineman, but I was becoming more, I would say, of a football player. I actually got invited to an all-star game when I was in eighth grade. I was one of two people in like the Midwest that got invited to this all-star game. I mean, we couldn't actually afford it to go. I couldn't actually afford to go there, me or the other player, but we did get the invite. But I think that's when I realized, like, okay, I can be pretty good at this. And that's when I start training outside of football season, and that's when everything took off from there.
So you got invited to this all-star game, but then you had to
Mm-hmm.
pay for it to go, so you weren't able to go?
Yeah, and it was weird because, I mean, they didn't really tell us much about it. I think maybe my coaches didn't, because I don't think we would have had to pay. I think our team was supposed to basically sponsor us, and I don't think they wanted to do it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's
I
pretty
never went,
crazy.
but
That's pretty crazy. So then that's a good life lesson too. I mean, a lot of times people want to go to like the big conference and shortcut certain things, and they think if they make it to the All-Star game or they make it to the whatever the actor thing version of that is, that it's like a
right.
big deal. But it's
Mm-hmm.
really less the actual thing itself and more the progression that it takes to get there.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Mm-hmm.
All right. So when did you start catching balls?
Okay, that's a good question. So actually, a lot of people don't believe me, but growing up, I always was an offensive lineman, but I always could catch. Um, a lot of my coaches knew I could catch, but I wasn't the fastest because, like I said, I was a really big kid. So my freshman year, uh, I went to high school in Chicago. That was the first year I ever caught a pass. Literally, like my freshman year, I had lost a lot of weight, but I was still a big kid.
Was this in a game or in
Um,
practice?
well, this was my first time. Well, I've caught balls just, at practice, but never live.
Okay.
So my freshman year, I was actually one of the tallest kids on the team. And so I ended up moving from like an offensive tackle to wide receiver. So that's a big transition. But I had been already preparing for this in the previous summer, so I was already ready. But I mean, it was definitely more of my type of football. Like instead of me always blocking, I got a chance to catch a pass, hear my name called, score touchdowns, things of that nature. So I would say, yeah, my freshman year, that's when I was like, okay, I really love the sport. Like I'm at a position where I feel like I can grow and, I can go as far as God will allow me to.
So you made a decision at one point in time to say I'm going to move from lineman to become a receiver, and you had to go through
Yes.
that probably a pretty grueling process, right? To change your body and
Yes.
so talk to me about that a little bit, because here's the deal. On this show, we're an acting school, but you took classes
Right.
with us, so you understand a lot of what we do connects acting and personal development. So I'm
Yes, sir.
fascinated by anybody who's gone next level and their process to get there, because it's not going to be
Okay.
any different for actors than it will for a professional athlete. If you want to be the best, you really got to have discipline.
Yes, I agree. You do have to have discipline.
So
That's
what
definitely
was
number one.
what was that big transitional summer like? What did that look like, and how did you stay focused and dedicated to it?
Ooh, okay. So let me see. When I was a freshman, okay. So where I went, it's very competitive where I went to high school. I always went to real competitive high schools. So me coming in, never playing receiver, naturally, my body had already changed. Just going through growing up, my body had changed from like a kind of a kid body to more of a man body. So naturally, I really didn't have to do much as like preparing my body to change to fit the look of the position, but just day in and day out, hitting the field, ladder work, consistent, just watching film every day on guys that I thought that I could, you know, my upmake compared to. So I was watching a lot of film, running a lot of routes, just getting used to running routes, reading coverages. So I would say that's where I started before I even got to practice. Because I mean, once you get to practice, all those things are needed. But if it's not sharp, then I may have never made it. So the summer before, I was just doing a lot of routine, consistent work, same thing every day, until it became second nature. So yeah, that's kind of what I did as a freshman, and it actually helped me out a lot, a lot.
No, I'll bet. So for all those listeners out there, if you take this as a life lesson for you, you think about what Raymond was doing is he was preparing in the dark for what was going to be seen in the light. So if he waits till practice comes to start doing the work, he's not going to be able to get the edge on everybody else. And he's telling us, what is he saying? He's saying, I did the little things consistently, habitually, until it became second nature. So those are ladder drills. I mean, that's like just putting your feet in and out of ladder, back and forth. And so for us, for actors, that's going to be like memorizing our scripts or, reading plays, doing daily disciplines that will take your life next level. If you're not an actor and you have any other discipline, any other profession, it's the same thing. If you're a salesman, you got to work on sales every single day. If you're a business owner, you got to work on your business every single day. Anytime you miss those fundamentals, that's when you miss the opportunity to shine when the lights are bright. Because when the lights are bright, you don't really get a chance to go back and learn those fundamentals. All right, Raymond, talk to me. How did you find our studio, and what drew you here in the first place?
Okay, so oh man, these are some good questions. So basically, I always wanted to get into acting. Growing up, I always played football, but I always been into I always like watching comedian shows, just movies, action movies. I always wanted to get a little more hands-on with acting. So one day I was speaking with a friend and she was like, man, you should really think about acting. She actually did acting too. And I believe she came to your studio a long time ago when she was a kid. And she was like, man, you should definitely get into it. It'll definitely give you more insight so you can know if you really want to do it or you don't want to do it. But I'm actually happy I did it because I was able to use some of the things I learned from the studio in real life. So yeah, I basically got informed by a woman. She basically told me a little about the class. And after that, I was like, okay, I might as well at least try it out to see how I like it.
What was your first impression when you came over here?
I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous because I was kind of outside of my shell. Now, if it was something sports related, it would have been easy. I've been doing that my whole life, but this was something different. So I don't know. I was actually nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I don't even think I had a pen. I don't know. Like I walked in, oh, I need to find a pen. I think someone was like, here you go, you can use this. So yeah, I think that I was nervous, but definitely those that went right out the window as soon as class started.
That's awesome. So what were those lessons you said you took away from the class that you've been using in life a little bit?
Gotcha. Just like you said earlier, it's the small things I always take. The small things always gradually help me to become a better person. I would say even from the first drill we did with just learning names, when everyone say their name, that was really big for me because being an athlete, you meet a lot of guys, but you don't really get to know people's real name. You might know their football name, like a nickname or a last name, but just learning people's first and last name, to me, that was just great because it taught us how to be a better listener. Playing football, I'm used to reading and reacting or just basically knowing things based off of history, just, things repeating themselves. But with acting, I was able to learn something right now and have to remember it right now. So I think that was just something cool about the first day, just doing a drill with learning someone's name and that being so positive and leading to so many more different drills that I got to do. So since that time, since I did that first drill, I was like, yeah, I'm coming here every day. Well, every chance I get, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So then talk to me about you got your master's here, and it looks like there's a connection into leadership, right? You did some leadership training?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talk to me about
so
that a
I
little bit.
took many different courses with leadership. I enjoyed that a lot. I took a lot of coaching classes that basically showed me how to be a leader. But I think more so than leadership, I would say the coaching aspect of my degree, I actually loved it because it showed me not how to. Most leaders try to do it their way, but I learned how to lead from all angles by being a better listener and just taking that and transitioning to me to become a leader as well as show other people how to be a leader. So I took a lot of different courses dealing with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, cool. So so before we get to, if you have a couple questions, let me ask you, how has it been for you right now? I mean, here's the deal. You're hard to guard. We all know that.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because I would think, hey man, you can never put this guy on lockdown, but you've been on lockdown the last couple months.
Kinda. I would say a little. I've been trying to, of course, stay safe. That's number one.
Yeah.
But I mean, playing sports, you actually can't take any days off. At least, I mean, if you do on the physical aspect, you have to get mental reps in too. So, I mean, every day I try to stay busy. I've created a lot of new ways to stay busy, little apps, more board games, anything to stimulate the mind, just to keep myself, active. So, I mean, it's been a lot of things. I've hiked, like I hike a lot. I swim when I can. I just try to stay busy. So it hasn't really slowed me down. And I would say it actually sharpened my skills in different fields. That's what I would say.
Really, that's great.
Yes.
That's awesome. So so basically, what you're saying is you have not taken one day off.
I would say early on, like for example, our season got canceled, I think March 16th. I think the 17th or one of the days between the 16th, 15th, and 17th, I slept the whole day. Other than that, no. Like I just slept a full day. So
why'd you do that?
because we were supposed to have our first football game and they actually canceled it. And I was so frustrated because
Yeah.
I mean I've been preparing to play and ready to play and they actually canceled our game. So the only thing I could think of was to sleep. And I think I may have had a few dreams of me playing. So it was actually positive. So yeah.
I take this mental exercise sometimes because, we all get knocked off the horse, occasionally. And
Exactly.
my thought is give yourself the time to mourn, to be sad. It's okay. But just like
Right.
for me, I set a time. So sometimes I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and be sad for 2 hours. And then when the 2 hours is up, I'm like, all right, I'm done. Let's go kill it,
Right.
So, if depending on how big it is, I mean, having my whole season canceled, yeah, I mean, let's take 24 hours and zone out. But what's great
Yes.
about the sleep is even that you're finding a way to better yourself. You could get restorative sleep. You could do something super good for you. So like, what do you try to, when you're filling your time, are you consciously trying to avoid certain things that would like drag you down?
Do you mean like when I'm sleeping or?
No, like during your day, like because here's the thing, you got to stay busy. You got to, like you said, you're going to play a board game to keep your mind sharp. So are you purposefully trying to avoid other activities that could be a trap for you or something that could cause you to go down bad habits?
I think I was just trying to cope with me not being able to play football right now because I mean I actually took like a year off, year and some change off from playing. That's when I actually got a chance to get into the acting studio. But I think that I was just trying to cope with the transition I made from not playing to now. So I think that's why I was trying to stay busy to keep myself in high spirit. I think that's most of the reason why I always try to stay busy because I mean, I kind of worked real hard to get back to playing and it's kind of like, okay, I just worked hard, boom.
Yeah.
the virus happens.
So what would happen to make you sad, to take you out of high spirits? Would that be just being lethargic, like not doing anything?
I would say just staying off the field. I mean, that kind of makes me unhappy because it's like me playing football makes me happy. I've got a chance to get back on the field, so I want to basically be able to, to be able to play. And with this going on, I can't really play. So I think that, that's probably why I stay as busy as I stay now, because I worked so hard to get back just to playing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the time that our season was supposed to be going on. So I just try to stay busy as if the season is going on.
Sure.
I think that's a better way to put it.
No, that's good. Cool. Well, because here's the thing, we got a lot of people listening, and we had some kids out there potentially, and for me, I know certain traps could be something like you watch a TV show, and next thing you know, it could lead into more TV shows. You play a video game, it could turn into 3 hours of video games, and so. And you realize if you check yourself, you go, when I do that stuff, it makes me unhappy. It makes me sad. When I'm progressing, pushing myself forward, even though it's hard, the progression in and of itself makes you happy. That's the weirdest thing about it.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of video games, it's funny because I'm not really I enjoy playing, but like you said, I kind of give myself a time frame. I don't try to abuse or overdo anything. But one day, I actually played Call of Duty for almost 10 to 12 hours. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. But I don't like things like that. I try not to stay in one setting, just playing a game, giving so much time just to one thing. But yeah, one day I just couldn't get off. And I'm not that good either. So I died a lot. A lot.
Well, and you realize really quickly how addicting those games can be. I mean, really. I mean, yes. To think that you could sit in front of a television for 12 hours, I mean, that's nuts, But they say it activates the same, things in your brain as any other addictive substance,
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. All right, so you got any questions for me? Anything we can go back and forth on a little bit?
Yeah, so what's some things you've been doing to, stay busy or deal with this pandemic that's going on?
So since day one, we committed to giving back. So I said, hey, there's only so much we can do as a studio. We can't have people in here physically. I was able to have my family in here, and Joey really well. So Joey's been here, and Brian, but just the three of us been doing stuff. So we reinvented our online program. We started this show. We were trying to find ways that we could give back, ways that we could connect with people and keep their spirits high, honestly. So that became our number one focus. I've never worked harder than I have in my entire life during the lockdown. And that was a choice. I tell myself every day, I don't know when we're going to get out of this. There was a time for probably 4 weeks when there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and that's the time it's the hardest to actually work, because it's so easy to think, oh, this is never going to end, But if you can get a hold of that and you realize this is if I could reverse it and say this is a countdown, and I don't know how many days, but I only have so many days to level up on everybody else. So it take you and you go, okay, every player that didn't sharpen the sword during this time, you gained on them, right? And you look at it as a backwards clock, and you're going like, I get so many days to level up on everybody else, and they're probably going to do something, but what could I do that's more than that, So I thought to myself, hey, we're going to be in the dark here for a while. Let's really take this thing next level. So basically, we kind of reinvented the online genre a little bit, which has been fun, because that's just my personality. I'm not one to just do what everybody else does. So. This whole thing happened, everybody jumped on the Zoom, and they're like, that's the thing. So I was like, all right, well, we'll use Zoom, but we're going to do it our way. We're going to, exactly. So I involved 3 different technologies all in the one thing, and we created an experience. So you really felt like you were at the studio, that was that. Exactly. And now that we're going back to live classes in June, we're starting back up again in person, we feel obligated to take care of the people that signed online, some people from even around the world, but we're like, we don't want to just abandon them now that they're, getting this training. So now Joey and I spent like 3 days we added like 3 new pieces of technology to try to get it so that when you're here in the studio, you feel like you're like friends with the people online, and the people online can be connecting back with the people in the studio. So it was pretty tough, but we did a little test just yesterday, and we figured it out. It was like one chord we were missing, and we plugged it in. It was like, oh, it works. That's crazy.
Oh, that's the best. That's always the best feeling.
So yeah, dude. I mean, that's what I've been just doing a lot of grinding, a lot of introspection, a little bit, trying to journal, writing my book, and just little things. I like to. I demand of myself to practice what I preach. So I'm not going to come on the show and say like I haven't been doing, like I'm doing something if I'm not doing it, So like little things, I'm like, redoing a table at our house for my wife. We built a garden, like little things like that. Just trying to take, set a good example for my kids and everybody else around here. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And what would you say for the listeners that's at home and that may have like a setting with more family members? What would you say some things they can do that way they can stay sharp or gain more insight? Things that I learned in the acting world. What are some techniques or games or things you think others can play at home?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's sort of hard to explain just verbally, but there's so many good improv games. Truthfully, you probably need to go online and like look up the rules for some games. But if you did, like even just like putting yourself in scenes, like being willing to stand up and be a different character, and mom's playing like the grocery person or something, and all that like acting out stuff is really fun. Anytime that you get engaged with your family and you get a chance to like laugh together and experience certain things. I mean, that's a big deal. I'm trying to think of one I could just describe off the top of my head. Joey, you with me?
Yeah.
What you got? Which one should I explain? You got a game?
Yeah. Explain top 5.
Yeah, top 5 is good. Okay, yeah, this is a good game. So and this game will be good for kids, adults, everybody. We do something called top 5, top 10. And so, depending on your age and how long you've been doing it, you either do 5 or 10. So basically, it'd be like give me the top 5 things you'd find at a football stadium. Go.
Oh, so you want me to do it?
Yeah. We'll practice. We'll practice.
So the top 5 things you would find, of course, is a crowd.
1.
You're gonna find food.
2.
Referees.
3.
Players.
4.
And I would say, what's the 5th thing you would find at the game? Bleachers.
Perfect. Now, we're going to do it again. Top 5 things you would find at a football stadium, but now think outside the box. Think top 5 things that could be there, but it's not necessarily like normal.
Okay. So I would say it could be a band. A lot of schools don't have bands,
1.
Smaller schools. So I would say a band.
Think outside the
cheerleaders.
Box. Yep. Think outside the box.
Outside
even
the
more.
Box.
Could be like not that it is. Just could be.
Okay, it could be hot dogs there. It could not be. It can only be hamburgers. You never know.
There you go.
So I would say hot dogs. I would say it could be. Let's see. It could be a dog there.
That's right. That's right. There's number 4. Maybe. Right. Good.
And number 5. There could be. Let's see. I'm trying to think of things that are not common. There could be. Let's see. There could be, I don't know, a power outage.
There you go. That's great.
There could be, yeah.
There you go. So that game, it just gets you to exercise the brain a little bit, and then once you get out of the ones that are obvious and normal, then you get to the abnormal. So your brain starts going, and you're like what could be at a stadium? Well, Madonna could be there. She could be. Filet mignon could be there. It's possible,
right?
And so you just start as you let your brain kind of go loose like that. It's interesting because everybody starts visualizing one thing and then they hear another, and that's what automatically gets a laugh every time.
Right. And I was thinking about going way outside the box, but
Like
yeah,
where? Like
probably
where'd your brain go? If it's as long as it's clean, you can talk about it.
I was gonna say Will Smith could be there. I
Yeah,
was
that's
gonna
right.
say a
Exactly.
dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, you never
A
know.
dragon. Yes,
I mean,
yes, that's right. From Game of Thrones,
right.
like the girl just like flies into the game, and she flips
Exactly.
the coin and then she flies out. Like it could be.
That'll be nice. I will want to play in that game. Hopefully.
Daenerys, I think
Yes.
her name is Daenerys.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a great question. What else you got for me?
What would I say? What do you think things that I can do to sharpen my skills? Because I spend a lot of time on the field doing football motions, things of that nature. What's some things that you think I could personally do to keep my skills sharp?
As a football player?
Just everyday life. Just I don't
Yeah.
know. What's some things that you do on a daily that you think that may help me out just to be a better person?
The
Not more
number
so a
one
football player, but just a better person.
Yeah. The number one thing above all else is I'd say get up if you're open to it, get up and read the Bible. That's the number one thing. If you could do that every day, start
Gotcha.
your day with that would be amazing. Number two is bookend your day. So
Hmm.
at night and in the morning, have affirmations that you tell yourself, and you're
Hmm.
visualizing what is already true.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and with my visualizations and my affirmations, I start with God, then family, then the people that surround me, because the five people that surround you are gonna be your future, and then from
Gotcha.
there I go into sort of like what my life's purpose is, and then I kind of just go down the train from there. And
Okay.
those affirmations start with I am so happy and grateful now that. So you speak it as if it's already true, as if it's already now.
Gotcha.
Denzel Washington gave a great speech, and he said, give thanks in advance for what's already yours. I don't know if you've heard him say that, but it's like a
Right.
really well-known speech. But it's like that's the idea, is that you wake up with energy, you wake up grateful, you wake up on your knees, praying to God, thanking him for today, and then trying to be guided in what am I supposed to do today? What's the one thing I could do that would make everything else easier? That would level me up the most, like the one thing. And sometimes it's the hardest thing, sometimes it's not. It's like the daily discipline. But you just look for that, whatever that one thing is. But I think the idea of daily affirmations is super huge. If you can also end your day by just doing like a quick, it doesn't have to be long, just like a quick little journal. It could be 5 minutes or so. You just sit down and you're like, and you're honest with yourself about the day.
Right.
Because I think most people where they struggle, and obviously you don't, but most people where they struggle is holding themselves accountable.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, if you just jot down, here's what I did today. Here's honestly in this area where I pushed myself the most. And then in this area here, I feel like, truthfully, I could have given a little more. And then you just really quick make a note for tomorrow. So you're like, all right, so tomorrow, in order to overcome that thing that I felt like I maybe slacked on a little bit, I'm gonna do this to kind of jolt my system.
Gotcha. Okay. I like to write things like that down because, I mean, definitely you've accomplished a lot of things in your life, and I've actually learned a lot from you. But I mean, you can never learn too much. So I definitely try to write everything down and try to, at least try to mimic some of these things and see how they work for me. So definitely,
Yeah,
I
I
appreciate
definitely
that.
agree with that. By the way, the curious and the learning, you can never learn enough. I mean, I feel like I'm nowhere close, to knowing
Right.
anything basically. So and I can tell you that, and everybody should hear this, by the way. When Raymond came in to take the class, I didn't know who he was. Somebody told me later that he was a ball player, and he even goes to school that I love and everything. But he was a good student. Like right off the bat, Raymond was we all talked about it afterward. Like that was the best student in the class. Why? Because he's taking notes. He's curious. He's asking all the right questions. He wasn't afraid to ask questions because he knew his purpose for being there was to get better. And so that's something we can all learn is like, don't be ashamed to ask. Don't be ashamed to humble yourself to anybody and to say, hey, you're further along than I am in whatever area. Let me learn from you and grow. And then you just have this responsibility once you maybe know more than the guy next to you, just reach back and help them. If they ask, like share the information. So
Exactly.
yeah, good, man. Thank you so much. So what about you in return? What can I do to level up?
So I mean, you asked literally like the blueprint that you just gave me is kind of similar to mine. Um, I would say, yeah, just never give up. I mean, obstacles come, and I think that makes the story even that much better. Everyone's gonna deal with adversity. You know, those are just things that we're gonna deal with, regardless of if you try to not, you still gonna, go through adversity. So I would say, just never giving up. Finding
Have you
ways
ever dealt
to.
with a major injury?
Yes. I mean, they was never major because I've always like, I got to get over. I didn't have a choice. Like I
Yeah.
didn't give myself a choice to like, it's not gonna slow me down. But yeah, I've broke my collarbone before. Um, I've torn my meniscus. Things of that
So
nature.
what'd you do
So
during that time? Like, how did you get through it mentally? Because actually, this is something you can help me with. Because I'm a basketball player, so I
right.
ripped my knee apart, and I have to have a second surgery now. So it's been a year in rehab, and
Mhm.
it didn't heal properly. So they got to go back in, and I'm pretty disheartened about it. I thought I was gonna be running by now. I thought I was gonna be, playing ball again, and it looks like it could be anywhere from another 3 months to another year and a half, before I'm on the court. So it can be hard for me to get motivated because truthfully, the thing I like that like I love to do to work out, I can't do. Like I can't run, I can't hike, I can't play ball, like any competitive sport I can't do. Um, so it's like I'm trying to wrestle with this thing in my mind to motivate myself to do the physical stuff I got to do on the in between.
I would say just, of course, pray. I would say that's number one. Another thing I would say is just take it one day at a time. Find other things that make you happy, but dealing with, your basketball sport. So I would say watch more film, um, hand-eye coordination drills. You can actually sit down and take a tennis ball, just work on hand-eye coordination drills. It's a lot of things that you can do to become a better athlete. I think a lot of athletes struggle when they tend to go down from a sport. Um, because a lot of athletes, believe it or not, a lot of athletes get hurt, but not hurt to the point where they can't do anything. So I would say you sometimes have to think outside the box, just like we was playing that top five game. You got to put yourself in a setting where you are. You have to be like, okay, I am. Maybe not in the physical aspect, but mentally, I can still imagine myself doing things. And those reps are just as good. Like some people always think it's always the full speed. Nah, sometimes the mental aspect is better. Is better for you. It better prepares you. So I would say, if any athlete or if you dealing with any type of injury, I would say just take it one day at a time. Always pray and just on a mental aspect, still grind because when you able to, when the physical upmake is ready, you'll be even that much better. And I think that getting hurt sometime or injured is a good thing because sometimes it allows your body to get a break sometimes,
Hmm.
you know, and just to really look yourself in the mirror and say, what do I really want to do? I mean, because God makes no mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when you go through things, it's preparing you for something better. So that's always usually what I do.
Dude, that's great advice. Thank you so much. And you're so right. As a matter of fact, when I got injured, I was pushing myself really hard and probably too hard. I was doing it in a way that it wasn't smart. So now I have had to rethink all that. But this gave me some motivation and some excitement to grab a tennis ball and do some different things and strengthen myself up and visualize
Yeah.
me being back on the court. Like I might as well do the mental reps.
Might as well. Might as well.
Yeah. Dude, thank you
There we
very much.
go.
You've been a pleasure to talk to you this morning. You are the man. We are totally looking forward to you having great success as a football player professionally, maybe going on to coaching, leading. I'm sure you're going to have a great speaking career. Like you're an amazing human being. Feel very blessed to know you.
All right, thank you. I do appreciate it too. You guys are always tremendous and helping me out, uplifting me, and definitely giving me more techniques that I can use, every day. So definitely appreciate that always.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Go Devils.
All right, go Devils. Have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, everybody, this
All
was Mornings with Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us continue to spread light-driven content and do what we do here. So thanks so much. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.